For over 20 years, I've taken families on tours to Korea. My real fascination with Korea began when we adopted David, because he came when he was older. So he really brought Korea with him, because he came and he was speaking Korean, he smelled like kimchi, he wanted to sleep on the floor, he wanted to do all these things. So we got very interested. And when we adopted Anna, when she was just a baby, I was asked if I wanted to go to Korea to escort a couple of babies. I hated to fly, absolutely hated it. Was petrified of flying, but was so wanted to know about where my children were from that I forced myself to go. It literally changed my life. But when I arrived in Korea, I had this very overwhelming feeling that I had come home. It was very strange. So I think from that point on, I knew that my destiny was somehow linked to Korea. And there was a seed planted in my heart that just kind of grew into this like passion of being able to help adoptive families and adoptees.
I can't say enough about this trip. All around, it was a fantastic trip, and I would highly recommend it. My name's Liz Bolio. I live in New Hampshire. My husband and I recently traveled with our 3 children who were adopted from Korea on the Korea Heritage Tours with Beverly. One of the reasons I picked Korea Heritage Tours was that Beverly was really responsive. She was with us the whole way. The tour included a lot of hands-on experiences like block printing, paper making, cooking, a cooking lesson, tea ceremony and etiquette, which are all things that I thought were important and added to the trip. Instead of just looking at everything, we were actually living it and doing it.
We place a lot of emphasis on them actually learning how to do Korean things like cook and tea ceremony and make paper and spend some time with a Korean family, go to a school, spend time in a school. Whatever the families need, whatever requests they have, then we try to facilitate that for them and make them as happy as we can keep them.
We never stop seeing something new, eating something new, having wonderful experiences. The organization of the tour was paced very nicely, with a nice balance between sightseeing, education, heritage, and support.
I think for the adoptee, what happens is they get a sense of power. When they go to Korea, they're just like everybody else. And no matter how old they are, and I've watched, young ones and teenagers and young adults, they all of a sudden realize, hey, I look like everybody else. I'm now included. And my mom and dad are the ones that look different. And it makes them powerful. They begin to get a grasp on what's inside them, that part that's missing.
My attitude towards everything has changed. Just to see my file.
We had the opportunity to meet their foster families and close a circle that's been open now for many years.
Whether they just go to the country, or whether they meet a foster family, or whether they eventually make some connection to their birth heritage, all those pieces are part of their puzzle. But going to the country is a big hunk of that puzzle, and being able to grasp that culture and that history is very, very important for them, adoptee and parents both.
I think it's very important to bring them to Korea and to show the Korean culture. Most of the adoptees, they don't know anything about Korean culture, so I think it's a very good chance to come to Korea. Very important to understand Korea for the adoptee.
And Mr. Che, our Korean guide, was amazing. He's really knowledgeable, very patient, kind man.
I always have a lot of fun reading the evaluations after the tour, because the first question is, what did you like the best about the tour? He always gets a high mark. It's always, we love Mr. Che. Mr. Che and I have known each other for more than 10 years, and we've worked together for more than 10 years. There is a sense of destiny that put us together. We're really good friends. Our families know each other. We work well together. I think because we have that same passion, that same heart for the families, it's one of the reasons why we're able to work together. And we're very much in agreement about many, many, many things as far as what we feel like adoptive families need, adoptees need, you know, what's appropriate for what age of child, as far as, you know, how much do you put adoption things into a tour. If you've got a young group of kids, you're not going to want to do a lot of things that have to do with searching, and so a lot of sensitivity. He has a lot of sensitivity to the families. I do too. We both agree on providing more of a personal, individual touch to the tour.
We had the opportunity to see the place where they were raised, to see the people who have been involved in their care from the very beginning.
I always enjoy being able to meet with my foster mom and catching her up on my life.
My background is that I did work with an international adoption agency, but when I left the agency, I still had the passion, and so that's what catapulted me to start Korea Heritage Tours, because I believe so strongly in it. But I do have that long-term experience of working with an international adoption agency, which has then allowed me to have connections to the counterpart agencies in Korea that I need to be able to work with for the post-adoption services that adoptees and adoptive families request, such as foster family visits, birth family searches, visits to birthplaces. All those things I can do because I've had that experience. I have those connections, so that's made it a whole lot easier.
One of the things that was so great about this tour was that Beverly tries to keep the tour group small.
We specialize in small groups, primarily so that we can meet those individual needs of a family. Several adoptive families can get together. They may have friendships with one another. They can form their own travel group, pick their own travel dates. So we have scheduled tours, but we're flexible and can set up tour really anytime that a family wants one. I understand from an adoptive parent's standpoint the sacrifice that it takes for a trip of this type. My goal is to help people connect to the country, the culture, and the people there. And it's my passion.